Hi, I'm Matthew George, and this is my video submission for American literature. We have covered many great short stories, poems, and plays throughout the semester. However, we did leave one great work of literature out of our studies. I personally believe that I Heard a Fly Buzz When I Died by Emily Dickinson would make a great contribution to this course. I believe there are many reasons why we should have studied this poem. First of all, it is phrased so beautifully you become obsessed with it. Secondly, she describes the scene so perfectly you feel as if you are there playing the role of the dying person on the bed. Thirdly, it challenges the reader to use critical thinking to find the individual meanings of the stanzas. And fourthly and last, it deals with what is unknown to many readers. People love learning about the unknown because they hate not knowing something. It'll drive a person insane. Death is one of those things that millions of people ponder every single day. Even if they wonder what will happen, they don't really know what will happen until it does because it's kind of in the future. This poem is based on a concept that when you are dying, your senses go into a sort of overdrive. Nobody would know if this is true because it does happen right before the people die. However, people still love this poem not only for the elaborate wording, but also because they believe it solves part of some great mystery. People also notice that the point of view is first person, but what's peculiar about it is it's narrated as if the person is already dead and is remembering their death. You can see this as they are recalling their death and not describing it now, in the now. This relieves some uncertainty of life after death for some people until they realize the real author is still alive and has not had communication with the dead. In the first stanza, Emily Dickinson describes the stillness of the room, describing it kind of like the eye of a storm, where there's a catastrophic event happening all around, but there's peace, quiet, and tranquility where you are. This is a great analogy that can be interpreted in two ways. These interpretations can be seen either separately or both at the same time. The first interpretation is that the silence is the lack of grief, and the storm that was mentioned in the poem is the period at which the family and friends were grieving over their lost one. The second interpretation is that the quietness is the peace that the speaker may be feeling as the time they die. Some people are in the middle, and like me, and say that the gap in the grief is the stillness, but there's only that gap because of the peace of mind of the dying person. In the second stanza, Emily also says, "The eyes around had wrung them dry, and the breasts were gathering firm, for the onset when the king be witnessed in the room." This is a very peculiar part of the poem with a very simple meaning. The speaker is saying how the people that were surrounding him were tired, quiet, waiting sadly and respectively for him to pass away. With what we already have gathered from the poem, the reason it would be good for future students to read is, one, they'd be exposed to a great work of literature with beautifully worded analogies, and two, they will have to think hard to figure out the true meanings of the different stanzas. Moving on to the third stanza, Emily Dickinson describes the last actions of the narrator's life. He gave their instructions on what should be done with his possessions. He told the people surrounding him what each one would get once he passed away. Then the fly interrupted his focus. He noticed the buzz of the fly, and the fly got in between him and the light. Then the light was gone. He was left awake in a completely dark place that he assumed was death. This is a very deep and touching poem to many people who have lost a loved one or are expecting to lose one. This is because they know or will know the cycle, the mourning, then the silent and sad respect they show as the person slowly fades away from them forever. This poem is applicable to millions of people, which obviously explains its popularity. But how does it apply to you, and how does it apply to me? Well, on my computer here you see the cemetery. Even if you personally have not lost a loved one, odds are at least one will die before you. If they don't, well, you will be found in the same situation as the narrator dying yourself. This is a very smart topic to write on because it is literally applicable to every single human being on the planet. This poem proves its worth as it is part of the literary canon, which is yet another reason why we should have studied it. True, this poem is rather strange, but I strongly believe it would be the perfect addition to our course. Thank you.